Welcome to the Youth of the Mission News Show for April of 2024. This month, we'll hear about a compassion ministry opportunity that's available in Mali. Hear about a couple of school ministries that YWAM is running around the world. Hear a testimony of God working in Papua New Guinea. Find out about an outreach to prostitutes in South Africa. Hear about the YWAM Lyon Street Show. We'll see what the meme of the month is for April and more. So thank you so much for tuning in to this, the 144th episode of the Youth with a Mission News Show podcast. I'm your host, Bill Hutchison. You can contact me, subscribe to future episodes, leave comments, and find links to all the stories we talk about in the show notes for this podcast at ywampodcast.com/144. Last month, I was actually contacted by someone working out of Mali in West Africa about a ministry opportunity that they have there. Now, Mali is a large nation in West Africa with a population of almost 20 million people, and it has a Christian representation of less than 1%. There have been decades of unrest in the nation, with almost 200,000 Malians currently displaced. Now, YWAM has a team that's currently working in Mali with a focus on refugees and the prisons. Here's a message that I actually received from Simeon, who is one of YWAM's workers there. So he said, "I'm working with Compassion Ministry here in Mali. Focus is on the prison. We visit the prison every Friday morning. To the refugee camp, that was after the prison, we go straight to the refugees. He's also joining Team Extreme as well, which with a focus on schools and universities. There might be a repaint program at the prison. This is what we normally do every year and do some design work as well at the prison. At the refugee, we have some families who are Christian who are living there, and we might need to actually rebuild their houses." Now, Simeon is originally from Fiji, but he's based in Bamako, Mali, with his wife, Rachel. If you want to find out more about their ministry, including how you could get involved, they can actually be contacted through their Facebook page, which will be linked to at ywampodcast.com/144. The YWAM Ships Aotearoa has some volunteer positions that are currently available.
Kia ora, my name is Hannah Sargent, and I'm the ship's leader here on board the YWAM cohort in Tauranga. We are super excited to be engaging in another year of deployment to Fiji. However, during this time from early May to mid-June, we are engaging in a maintenance period on board the ship to make sure that she is safe and well-maintained to go and serve the isolated. During this time, we are looking for specific people to come and help make sure that our ship is ready. In some of the categories we are looking at, we are needing people with giftings in welding, in carpentry, in hospitality, in cooking, and in plumbing to do some of the major projects and areas that we need filled on board.
So during this maintenance period, we're hoping to upgrade a few of our bathrooms on board, as well as just do general maintenance around the interior and exterior of the vessel. Stuff that just needs to be done every year we need to keep on top of.
Every bit of work that's done on board the YWAM cohort is ultimately helping us achieve our vision of empowering a healthy future for the Pacific. So if you are interested in joining our team from early May until the middle of June, please feel free to shoot us an email or DM us on social media. We thank you in advance, and we look forward to having you on board the YWAM cohort.
So you can just head over to ywamshipsaotearoa.org.nz to find out how you can volunteer, and also to find out more about their ministry and about the amazing work that they are doing in Fiji. Now, last month we actually talked to you a little bit about YWAM Windhoek, which is one of the ministries that they're engaged in is partnering with other locations near them. Now, as part of reaching out to local YWAM bases and ministries, a group of staff went on outreach to serve alongside YWAM Luterates over the weekend. During this time, they had the privilege to share stories with children from the community, host prayer and worship nights, visit a school, and also help the Feed a Child program. Now here's actually what the base leader's wife had to share. It's been such a great blessing and experience to have had the YWAM Windhoek outreach team with us. During their time here, we would really see the hand of God in their favor. Firstly, it takes a lot to pioneer a base, just as a family, but we've been adamant about what God clearly spoke to us about having him known in Luderich. Our vision is to serve the community in our abilities through children's programs, prison ministry, and evangelism. We also want to introduce missions to the young generation to stir up a fire in their hearts that will assure them that serving God is not boring at all. It's actually adventurous and exciting. Secondly, my highlight from this weekend has been the prayer nights we hosted at our house. It was such a beautiful time that we can invite our neighbors to join us in uttering a sound of prayer and worship unto the one who created us all. One of the 8 topics shared was Occupy While Waiting. And that reminded me to remain steadfast, but rejoice in the season of waiting and watch how the Lord does wonders for us. We are trusting the Lord for more staff and opportunities to expand the vision we have been called to. Please pray for us and for our family. That was from Salome Van Wyk from YWAM Luderitz. So we do include a link to that story, which you can find again at YWAMpodcast.com/147. Now, YWAM is a ministry in South Africa that was founded in 2023 in response to the needs of women trapped in prostitution in that nation. YWAM works with single mothers who have found themselves in this vulnerable position due to the injustice of poverty or sexual exploitation, creating a space to train them in sewing while walking a path of discipleship.
God has a history of inviting surrendered lives to partner with Him to transform society. Lives that usher in God's dreams with courage and conviction. And that is exactly who Caitlin is. This is a story of a girl who said yes to the invitation from Jesus to befriend the prostitutes and invite them into a new life.
God so clearly spoke to me where He said, Caitlin, I am just waiting for someone to partner with me. It kind of felt like the Lord was just like yearning for someone to just say yes and just go. So I was like, okay, Lord, I will go. I have no idea how this would look like. God started speaking to me about women in prostitution. When God first mentioned it, I was like, Lord, this is so messy. Like, honestly, like, how can you pull me into this? Like, it's just too messy, a too broken ministry to be a part of.
So many of us feel this way. The problems of our world can be so messy and dark, it's tempting to just turn away. And that's what's so remarkable about Caitlin. She said yes to the invitation before she knew how to fight the injustice. But it took some time for this to develop. Caitlin didn't know what to do when God first spoke to her about this, so she went on with her studies, got a master's in chemical engineering, and when she joined YWAM, God kept speaking to her more and more about being a reformer. Where are we right now?
Okay, so we are like in the city part of town. So this is kind of where you would find more the bad dealing that would happen. So we have prostitution here. We have gangs being active. This is quite a dangerous place where you wouldn't necessarily walk alone.
So how, like, you're doing this? You're like this little white girl. Like, aren't you like a little nervous?
Oh my goodness, that's such a good question. Honestly, initially when God called me to do this, I was terrified. I like said to the Lord, like, have you seen me? I have no way to defend myself. The whole scene with how it looked like was hilarious. Like these 3 girls just running in the streets, ministering to women in prostitution. It's such a dangerous area, but the Lord's hand was on it. Since actually stepping out and saying yes to what God has asked of me, there has been such a grace of like boldness and confidence where I would be able to like confront pimps and be when they're like, what are you doing here? So initially when I started, I just felt from the Lord that we needed to do sewing, but it's not like I'm at all an expert in it. I can do basic things. got the community to like give funds to buy sewing machines. I've never worked with an embroidery machine before. Like, yeah, we need to play around and like get the right setting.
When they found women with real hunger to know Jesus, they would invite them to join a Bible study and give them the opportunity to build sewing skills. This is how Woven was born, a ministry to disciple women trapped in prostitution and invite them into a new life.
What the women then would do is they would make products, but as independent product producers. So we create a space where there is machines, we provide fabric. Here we have the products, and we sell them here at Zorro, and then as well as on 2 other online platforms.
So you have like the community kind of involved in it too.
Yes, which is so sweet. It's nice having the community to run with us in this. So I knew from the start it's gonna be hard, but I think when we hit the point where it was really hard, like we were hammering a thick brick wall, that I realized, oh wait, it's easy to say no when things get hard. It's easy to then be like, wait, I don't actually know if I heard the Lord, or maybe the word was just seasonal, and maybe it is those things. But the thing that gripped me was God's heart for these women, and my love towards Him would be saying yes, even though it's so uncomfortable. And I would meet these women and I would be undone by their stories.
Sometimes I feel so ashamed with the things I was doing. I was struggling to raise my kids because I don't have anyone.
Felicia's story, she shared with me that at the age of 13, she was forced to marry this man who she didn't love. I mean, she was still a child. And then with this man, she had 6 children, and in the end, he started abusing her, and it was just really bad. And then he left her with the children. And she didn't have any other way to take care of her children than to go into prostitution.
Now I'm free. I think I'm free because before I was with anger. Even if you talk with me, I was just anger, but now I'm okay.
So there was this one moment where I was ministering to this one woman, and with tears in her eyes, she said to me, Caitlin, I know Jesus can come back tomorrow, and if he does, what he will find is a prostitute, but I do not have another way to take care of my family. And just like such a desperateness within them, like they've heard about the good news of Jesus, but then also they find themselves in this position where they are not able to help themselves. And I feel like the Lord invited us into this place where like we get to, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. They were so eager to give their life to Jesus and learn more about him. But they were in a situation where they weren't able to help themselves. And I just felt the Lord inviting us into this like great opportunity to be the one to help to get a solution. You're a new creation.
Yes, who told me that then when we read the Bible, I saw He's so kind.
Caitlin saw this need and opened her heart for God's compassion. She wasn't an expert, but she did have a yes in her spirit. And now her obedience is changing the lives of these women in profound ways. Caitlin is just one girl in a whole movement of young people who are stepping onto the front lines of injustice to bring God's solutions. He's raising up a wave of reformers that are saying, yes, I will go.
If you want to tangibly feel the Lord's presence, like go to those who are unseen in society or those who are deemed as less, because there is no one in the kingdom that is unseen by Him. There is no one that is too far lost. We get to walk with Jesus so closely when we say yes to reaching these people.
I love that message just at the end, that none of us are so far gone, none of us are so lost that God can't impact us. Now that the ministry that they're doing there, you can actually, the place I found that they have the most up-to-date information is actually on their Instagram page, which we've linked to at ywampodcast.com/144. So you can follow along and see the amazing work that they're doing there in South Africa. Now, we've reported before about YWAM Lyon and some of the work that they've been doing, but recently they actually just put on a street show. Now, the information that they gave to us was that on April 20th, this is the story that they gave. So, God is good all the time. We had a great afternoon of evangelism, music, fellowshipping, sharing, and impact. In our team, no role is less important than the other. That's why we're thankful to be able to serve the Lord with the talents and gifts that He has given us. And we're not denying the results. This is what happens when we come together for His work. Lyon will be for Christ. So you can follow along with what YWAM Lyon is doing in their city through their Facebook page, which we'll have linked to at ywampodcast.com/144. Now, Ashley has actually spent multiple years serving in Papua New Guinea as the medical coordinator for YWAM Ships Kona, traveling to remote villages with teams of medical professionals in order to serve the local people. Now, here is actually one of the stories about God's providence in preparing her to treat a local woman who suffered from a stroke.
My name is Ashley Myers, and I am the medical coordinator on board the YWAM Liberty in Papua New Guinea. We went to a village that nobody had ever been to before. No YWAM team had ever gone to this village. We had to take a hour-long Zodiac ride to get there. And everyone was so excited, and we were doing our clinic, we were setting up. I was the triage nurse that day, so I was registering patients, and this lady came up into the clinic. She was saying, my daughter is at home, she can't get to the clinic, can someone come see her? And I said, sure. So I took a friend with me, and we went to this lady's house. And Edith she was about 22 years old. She had been treated for TB for about 6 months prior, and she gave birth while she was at the hospital. So she had a little baby. And about a week after she gave birth, she woke up one morning and couldn't move the right-hand side of her body. She couldn't move her leg or her arm, face was droopy, and so I was taking a look at her, and it was fairly obvious to me that she'd had a stroke. Oddly enough, my specialty when I worked back in Canada was stroke rehab. I worked at a stroke rehab hospital and had seen tons and tons of stroke patients, and so I knew exactly how to help her and how to treat her, and so I gave her some ideas on how to take care of her joints, how to increase her range of motion and be able to walk and move and be able to just increase her strength. And it was such a blessing to them, and they were so grateful, and we were able to spend time with them, talk story, and they gave us some fresh coconuts, and we just prayed for them and spent some time with them and just built some relationship with them. And going back to the clinic, and the guy that I was with was like, wow, you knew a lot about that stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's my specialty back home. And he's like, wow, that's like really specific. And I was like, I know. And that story has really always stuck with me, because that's how God's love is multiplied, by channeling through other people and seeing that practical love played out through our actions, and being able to come in and say, yeah, God brought a nurse who had the specific knowledge needed to help you to this most remote place to bless you and encourage you and let you know that you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, you are loved by the creator of the universe. And the reason why I continue to do this and why I continue to go to these isolated places is because if nobody goes to these isolated places, then how is God going to multiply his love? And how are these people going to encounter the love of Jesus? I mean, God can do miraculous things. God's bigger than us, but I think he chooses to use people. And I serve with ships because I want to be able to see broken people experience hope, and to be able to bring hope into the brokenness.
That's such a cool story of her being in the right place at the right time, because that's where God had her, and that's where she was needed. So you can learn more about YWAM Ships Kona at their website, which is ywamshipskona.org. YWAM Reno is actually having a summer camp for kids of incarcerated parents in July. Now, each child gets a backpack, and it's called the Angel Tree Camp. So they're looking actually for a few things for this camp that's coming up. So one thing they're looking for is to actually put together backpacks for the children who are at risk. So they're looking at putting together multiple backpacks just for the participants. So stuff like flashlights, shampoo, body wash, hairbrushes. YWAMReno.com is the best place to find out that information with how you can give and help. But in addition to that, they're actually looking for US-based YWAMers to join in the camp positions. So they're looking for support staff who are 14 and older, junior counselors who are 16 and older, and senior counselors who are 18 and older. Now the camps are running from July 5th to the 12th, and also July 14th to 19th. Looks like a beautiful location, someplace that would be really nice to go to and to really bless these kids who are at risk because their parents are currently incarcerated. So you can find out more about it on their Facebook page. That's where I found the information, which will again be linked to at ywampodcast.com/144. Last year, YWAM-V2 in Aratarp, which is located just outside of Port Vila in Vanuatu, built a double classroom for their school. Now this year, they're looking at actually building an additional double classroom, and that build will be starting in August. Now to give an idea about why it is so important for this school and for the resources that they're developing to be built, we have this video, or clips from a video from the V2 Life Ministry.
30% of children actually don't attend school, either through lack of finance, lack of opportunity, or just that parents don't value their children receiving education.
The differences in the kids here compared to in a Western place would be these kids are so grateful for anything that they're given, and they're so passionate about learning. You'll find kids in Western cultures, they aren't always on board with learning, but these ones, they just, every opportunity they get, they're just wanting to learn, and they're very passionate, yeah.
I really have a passion to work with the kids. Most of kids have mom, but no have dad. Most of the father run away. It's a very sad story for me. Also it's make me sad and also make me every time I feeling crying.
When we first bought the property and moved here, when we started coming here in 2012 trying to develop the land, working on the gardens and things, we met some people in the community and they came up to us and asked, so what are you doing? And we said, oh, we're missionaries. We saw that there was a great need for a school. There was no school around, So we prayed about it and decided maybe we should do it.
To think that an 11-year-old's never had an opportunity to be educated because of asthma. The school could be the only chance that he actually gets of an education, because he wouldn't have been able to probably be accepted into a government school. The people here are just so humble, and they just, you know, are so grateful for us coming here, and just, yeah.
So, now helping to build the additional 2 classrooms is a great chance to make a difference in the lives of the children in the Tioma Valley. You can see a picture there if you're watching the video of the classroom that they built last year in 2023, and they're looking to reproduce it here in 2024 and to build another double classroom. So if you head over to v2life.org, you can find out more about their ministry. And then if you go to volunteerbuild.com, you can find out specifics about this new classroom build. Now, another school program that YWAM is engaged in is the New Vision Schools that are out of YWAM Arusha in Tanzania. The student-teacher ratio in Tanzania is 169:1 in public pre-primary school compared to 24:1 in private schools. Primary school-aged children from the poorest families are 3 times less likely to attend school than those from wealthier homes.
In 2003, 2004, the Lord gave us a vision of discipling Tanzania through education. He spoke to us about education that is quality in terms of the building, so that we have a good environment for the child to study in. Infrastructure that is friendly to the child, but also quality in terms of the kind of education that we offer to be competitive.
We are a biblical-based school, and you know, most of public schools these are governments that is run with worldview. But our main focus is to reach a kid in their wholeness, in their spirit, in their mind, and bring education that is the wholeness.
We teach Christian morals in the school. We even have a lesson which is called Christian Religion Education, CRI, which is taught from lower classes, the preschool, to class 7.
Example maybe in the Maasai land and most of the community around. There are so many poverty where families cannot afford to take their kids to good schools. And so YWAM comes in to give that opportunity.
Most of the parents we have here are interested with this school, mostly because of the Christian teaching and the way we behave like Christians, but also performance.
Part of what we offer is how we deal with these kids, is how we take care of these kids.
Our teachers are highly trained and greatly discipled on handling children, and so the kids love our schools, they love our teachers. Actually, in the area, everybody says that our preschool is the best. But also we use the Montessori kind of education and the YWAM curriculum. And this is the best, you know, the best because it deals with the whole child.
New Vision Schools provide breakfast and lunch for all students who do not have enough at home.
And many of these kids comes from poor families that are not even able sometimes to afford 3 meals per day.
Most children in Africa have 1 meal a day. And that meal is always like in the evenings. And so if that meal is not there and the kid has not had food during the day, that's torture. That's why we have introduced a feeding program in our schools so that we provide a tea break and then we provide lunch.
All of them, they get breakfast here, they get lunch, except dinner.
There are currently 5 New Vision schools in Tanzania and Kenya.
We have a school in Arusha, New Vision. That's from preschool to grade 7. And then we have a school in Maasai land, which serves the Maasai kids. And then we have a school in a place called Karatu. And then we have a school in Singida, which is about 6 hours drive from here. We have just begun a school in northwest Kenya among the Pokot tribe. It's under tree, but hopefully we have classrooms soon. And then we hope to begin this 6th school in Matala, in the Triangle Dream Center.
In New Vision in Maasai land, in the beginning it was not easy for them to bring their kids to school because most of these farmers and cattle keepers who wants their kids to stay home and only take care of cows. But for YWAM school to come in, that means the kids have had an opportunity to get education. And so slowly the community is starting to understand the importance of education.
Young Maasai women are often sold into marriage as early as 12 years old and become mothers by 13 or 14 years old. Tanzanian law forbids girls in school from being forced into marriage.
Some can be at the age of being in school and their parents will want to take them out and maybe make them married. But YWAM comes and provide a place for them to stay. At the moment, we don't have like a facility that they can stay. Some kids are in our base here who are living with some of our staff. And after their primary school, we send them to secondary school, which is a boarding school, so that they can continue getting education.
Not all families have the resources to pay for their child's school. You can sponsor a child's education for just $42 per month. There are also volunteer opportunities for service at New Vision schools. For more information, head over to ywamarusha.org/new-vision-schools. So again, you can find out more by heading over to ywamarusha.org. Now, I really do appreciate getting feedback from those of you who watch or listen. Sometimes they're as simple as spelling corrections, which is something that I do need occasional corrections on. But every once in a while, I actually get some really good feedback. Just sort of leads me in a direction that to explore some other options that are happening in Youth of the Mission. Now, over on YouTube, I actually got a recommendation from someone calling themselves the Wise Wookiee. Now, they recommended that we actually take a look at mission building in YWAM. They personally had a really great family experience with them and their daughter last year when they went into Papua New Guinea for a couple of weeks on a mission building trip. Now, I thought this was a great idea just to explore further some of the opportunities and some of the things that are happening with Mission Building International. So in the next few months, I'll actually be starting to gather stories and we'll include a section in one of the future episodes. So again, thank you, Wise Wookiee, for your feedback and for your recommendation. Now, if you have any suggestions for future stories or any comments, just let me know in the comments, either on the YouTube video or by heading over to ywampodcast.com/144, where you can leave your feedback, and then we can look at seeing, what else is God doing out there that I might not be aware of, or that you think would be worthy of digging into more. Now, some other feedback that I actually received was about Lauren Cunningham's book, Is That Really You, God? And this book has inspired thousands, if not millions of people in ministry and missions. For me, it was required reading on my discipleship training school, as I'm sure it was for many DTS students. Now, the book has been translated into 150 plus languages and is described as a practical guide to hearing God's voice and following his direction to change our hearts and our world. Now, Sven Struman from YWAM Nuremberg contacted me recently to let me know that they just completed a German audiobook version of Is That Really You, God? Now, chances are pretty good that if you're listening to this, you probably also consume other content via audio format. Now, I'll include links to a few different places you can pick up the audiobook version of Is That Really You, God? In the show notes, which you can find at ywampodcast.com/144. There's different places you can get it, whether Apple, Google, Kobo, Spotify, and a few others. So again, just ywampodcast.com/144, and you can find links to all of them. Now, this month, there were actually quite a few good memes out there by different YWAM locations. Now, YWAM Furnace Memes put out a good one. YWAM Memes also had a nice one, just relating to how long it sometimes take YWAM locations and staff to reply to us. And YWAM Christensen Memes also had some. They were actually top of the list until we actually had another one come through. Now, the location that took the winning this month, again, it's all my personal preference, but I liked it, was actually YWAM Asheville with their Eclipse Lightning Strike meme. Now, that is a video meme. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but it is lightning striking during the eclipse. So if you head over to our YouTube channel or our Facebook page, you can actually check it out for yourself and see that meme. and they definitely won this month. So well done, YWAM Asheville. Now, if you do want to submit your own YWAM memes for consideration for May's meme of the month, you can tag it on Instagram with the hashtag YWAM memes. So look forward to seeing what you guys have for us next month. So again, thank you so much for tuning into this, the 144th episode of the Youth with the Mission News Show. If you head over to YWAMpodcast.com/144, you can actually watch all the full videos for the stories that we talked about. You can find links to all the locations and all the stories, see the photos and everything. Just at, again, YWAMpodcast.com/144. You can also leave feedback. Tell me what is God doing at your location? What is God doing for you? And maybe we can include that in some of our future episodes, like what we'll be doing with Mission Builders International coming up. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I really look forward to chatting with you again next month and hearing back from you. What is God doing in your life, and what is God doing with Youth of the Mission around the world?